Hello guys, Greg back with another video. So today I'm doing another haul or recent acquisitions video. Everything that I'm going to show you has been bought probably in about the last 4 to 5 weeks. In keeping with my neutral spending policy that I've mentioned a few times before, everything I've purchased here has been funded by selling other fragrances. And anyone on the UK Facebook groups can attest to the fact that I have sold tons because I'm on there every day selling stuff. Collection's down to the smallest it's ever been since probably a couple of months after I started this hobby, but it's actually in a place where I'm happier with it than I've ever been in terms of what I've got. So anyway, let's crack on with this list. I've got 9 bottles to show you, so I'm going to whiz through these and give you a little brief bit of info on each. So first one up, one you can see here, I've been looking for this for quite a long time actually. This is the original formulation of Dior Cologne. Now this is a Francis Kurkdjian fragrance. I'd say this is far closer to being a family member of Dior and Dior Intense than the 2013 version Cologne is. This has got a heavy dose of cocoa and iris in here, but it's got some neroli and some mandarin in there, which gives it that sort of summer fresh cologne type of feel. The 2013 version is a totally different fragrance entirely. It's a heavy bergamot and grapefruit fragrance, and it doesn't really have any of that Dior series DNA in it. So yeah, that's the original Dior Cologne. It's the first pickup. Second one is, this is a repurchase, and actually sadly I've got to say this is the third time I've bought this fragrance. Previous 2 times I thought I don't like it and I sold it, and I've decided I like it again now and I've bought it again. So anyway, it doesn't need any introduction, this one, from Tom Ford's Private Blend. This is Tobacco Vanille. Name says it all really, exactly what you're going to get. You're going to get tobacco leaf and vanilla from this. There's a lot of other notes behind it. It's a very well blended fragrance. I pick up dried fruits and tonka are the most detectable other notes to my nose, but definitely a really high quality fragrance, and again really enjoying that, and I just hope that that continues and that I don't sell it again. Third one up, this is from the house of Mansera, and this is called Cedrat Boise. A blind buy, this one, because I've got a really cheap deal on this partial bottle that you can see. Now this gets heavily compared to Creed's Aventus, and it is very similar, I have to say. It's not a duplicate or a clone, but they're very similar. The use of blackcurrant and musk in both fragrances is very similar, and that's the main thing that compares them for me. Not an Aventus replacement, but definitely a good alternative. This one retails for £100 for 120 ml in the UK, which is half the price of Aventus retail, and it lasts all day as well. The performance is definitely comparable with Aventus. Number 4, another one from one of my favourite houses, classic and timeless Dior Eau Sauvage. Launched in the 1960s, this one, believe it or not, but it still smells relevant today to me. Probably for guys 30 and upwards, I'd say this one's best suited. It's a citrus aromatic fragrance. It's got some woods and spice in there, but it's a really classy, classic smelling fragrance. Fifth up, another one from Tom Ford's Private Blend. This one is Azul Lime. Now this is one of the lesser talked about and definitely one of the lesser loved Tom Ford Private Blends. Main criticism that this gets is for performance, and to be honest I agree with that. I only get about 3 or 4 hours from this, but the smell of it is absolutely fantastic. It's a woody floral musk. Don't want to talk too much about it because I plan to review this soon, but what I'd say is if anyone's got occasions where they only need or want a fragrance to last for a few hours, this is a good option. But if you want something that lasts longer than that, this is a lot of money for a fragrance that for most people doesn't last particularly long. So what I would say is definitely sample it on your own skin and see how it works for you. So that is Tom Ford's Azul Lime. 6th pickup. This is from the house of Profumo Aroma, and this is called Batito Dali. I've been testing fragrances from this house for months now, and I've finally found one that I think, that I thought I wanted to buy a full bottle of. Something in here reminds me of a sweet that I used to eat when I was a kid. For any of my friends in the States, a sweet is the same thing as what you call candy, but it definitely reminds me of that in some way. It opens up with some sweet fresh florals, and then it becomes like a resinous vanilla with some coconut sitting behind it. The key note I get in here through the majority of the fragrance is myrrh, which does give it a bitter sort of resinous accord, and that works really well with the sweetness that you get from the vanilla as well. So that is a Batito Dali from Profumo Aroma. what should we do next? Number 7. Alright, let's do this one. So I don't think many people will have heard of this one. Certainly most people won't have tried it. It wasn't around for very long before it got discontinued. But this is from, this is a flanker to one of my favourite fragrances of all time, and it's from Yves Saint Laurent. And this one is called Rive Gauche Borom Light. Now don't be misled by the name, it's not a light fragrance at all. Performs every bit as well as the original and the Intense, which both perform very similar to me and both very well. So I've only just got this, I've only really worn it on my arm once, so I'm not going to give you a massive breakdown. But what I would say about this is, in comparison to the original and the Intense, that this is more of a fragrance in its own right. The Intense version is very similar to the original, just with a ramped up patchouli note in there. This one here, if I was to describe them, I'd say the lavender and the anise that are in the original have been toned down, and the geranium and the woods that are also in the original have been ramped up. So between this and the original, it's almost a switch around of the prominent notes. But if I was going to describe all three of fragrances in the series, I'd say the original is, I'd say it's a lavender, rosemary, anise. The Intense, I would say, is lavender, anise, patchouli, and this one probably I'd describe as geranium, woods and anise, if that gives you kind of an idea. But there's still a good dose of lavender in this one as well, but it's just toned down, as I said. But a shame it's hard to find, but it's great fragrance. I love all three of the Rive Gauche fragrances. So number 8. Now this is a fragrance that I have shared my reservations with a lot, particularly on Facebook groups, and not just the fragrance but the series that it comes from as well. But I found a bottle that was partial, that was a good price, and don't get me wrong, I do really like the smell of it, so I bought it. It's from the house of Sergov, from the Shooting Stars collection, and this is Neo. Now, it's not going to appear in any of my top 10s or anything like that at the moment, but I do think it's a lot better than I originally gave it credit for. It's a very pleasant fragrance. It starts out with a massive hit of bergamot, real smack in the face of bergamot. There's a lot of neroli in there as well, but initially it's overpowered by the bergamot. And after a few minutes there's a great jasmine note. There's a lot more to it, there's woods and spice, and I'd probably give it an 8.5 out of 10 for smell. But when you consider that this is £250 for 100ml, I definitely still think this is overhyped and overrated. I haven't changed my mind on that, even though I do think it's better than I initially believed. Final one. Now, I've literally just purchased this. It's still in the box. This is the 3rd bottle I own from what is becoming quickly one of my favourite houses. And the house is Ormond Jane. As you can see, the fragrance is the Four Corners of the Earth series, and it's called Serena. So let's have a look. There's the box, and this opens up like so. Ormond Jane, London, and there you go. Great presentation on this. Sorry about that. And there's the bottle, Ormond Jane, London, Serena. Now, I'm not going to give you too much info because this actually was a real impulse buy. I just smelt it and realised I really liked it. But briefly, I'd say it's a floral fragrance with a lot of geranium, a lot of iris, and it seems to be settling down to kind of a sandalwood base. But there's something about all of the fragrances from this house. They all have a note in there, the same DNA, and I just think they're wonderful fragrances. I really do. So there you go. That is nine new bottles, guys, to show you. Now, that may seem like a whole ton of money's been spent there, and to be fair, is a lot of money. But please remember that I have sold loads and loads of bottles to buy these. There is no new investment in these bottles, and you have to remember that for anyone starting out, a little bit of advice, my collection has grown over a long period of time, which is why I have enough bottles that I can sell to raise money for new fragrances. I'm not just going out there and throwing away money I don't have, and I just really advise anyone not to go down that road and just be cautious and take your time. But anyway, thanks for watching as always, guys, and I'll be back really soon with another video. Cheers.